Hello. So, we very recently, in the last few hours, for me, have had Blackfrost: The Long Dark 2 revealed to us, which is incredibly exciting. Um, I'm just going to go over the trailer in this video, point out a few things that I noticed, kind of analyze it a bit, and read over the information they've given us on the Steam page, which I think is pretty much all the information we've gotten about Black Frost. First things here, this is just general kind of the environment. It looks like they're still going for a similar style in terms of wilderness landscape. We can see there's uh, cooling towers for a nuclear power plant in the background there against the skyline. Nothing too crazy. Uh, Next one here, also nothing too crazy again. We've got a cabin, we've got a deer. Makes sense, we've still got deer. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep a lot of the wildlife similar. So yeah, this I think was flowing water, so you might find that there's more flowing water in the game, rather than at the moment where the only flowing water is in Black Rock or in waterfalls, I think. So this one's quite interesting. So we've got someone chopping a tree here, which may well be a new thing, actually chopping down trees, which I think is something people kind of thought is a bit odd in the Long Dark. You cannot chop down trees. You can chop down saplings to get wood. So that looks like that may be a new thing. Maybe you can do something with the logs. I'm not sure why this person's chopping down this tree when there's loads of logs here they could chop up. So maybe they need a specific tree for something. Who knows? The other important thing is whatever's on the right here. It looks like it's some sort of machinery. I don't know what that is just from looking at it. Could be some sort of generator, given it's got some sort of tower which suggests it gives out smoke or something. So we might come back to this later when we go look at some of the notes they've given us, because there's a bit of talk about something like that. But yeah, we'll see. Next, we got this. We see this person here. They look to be walking very gingerly across the ice. So good news if you like thin ice, because I'm guessing that's still going to be in this game. And you've got the plane out here on the ice, which once again doesn't tell us anything too crazy. He's just kind of setting up the dynamics here. Here we see someone with a fire. You can still light fires. Cool, makes sense. Doesn't look too crazy though. This one's quite an interesting one. So we've got, once again, we've got flowing water again. And, oh god, it moves on right. Got flowing water again. And we've got some sort of truck here that's leaking out some sort of chemical spill or something like that. So this bridge has fallen down, truck's fallen in the water, it's got a massive hole in it somehow. And it's going into the water supply. I don't know if they really liked Zone of Contamination. I don't know much about Zone of Contamination, but I know that in the base game, it's in the DLC for the first game, I'm guessing they liked that side of things and like having things be toxic and dangerous like that. So looks like we're getting more of that, because I'm guessing this is not just radiation. There's will be something else. But from the looks of this bridge and what we've seen, we are getting a lot more urban stuff, but we will see that as we go here. Here, we've got a couple of wolves. We've also got a moose in the foreground. Nothing too crazy. We've still got wolves, specifically timber wolves. That is the timber wolf owl, if you listen to that. It's the same barking wolf noise as well. So similar stuff there. Next one, we've got a guy who doesn't look too dissimilar to Will. He's got a can of peaches here. He's in some sort of basement by the looks of things. You can see how frosty it is. Like, this is clearly very cold. Wherever this is, like, it's freezing cold if this much frost is built up. There's also a thing in the background here that says North Springs, which looks like it's water. So there's some very specific box of water there. So that might be relevant. Let's see. Now this. Horses. Are we actually going to get a mode of transport? It looks like it. They haven't said anything about it from what I can see in any of the notes. But obviously one of the big things people want is, in the base game, they want things that let them travel around. And horses seems to be something that we may well get in this game. I'd be surprised if we don't, because I think there's 2 shots with horses. Also something, you've got candles. So it looks like you could maybe make candles here. You've got 2 wine bottles, one on the left and one in the bottom right, that someone's obviously put wax in, and then you can make candles out of them. So that would be exciting to have more light options in this game. Let's see. Here we've got a group of people. Nothing too crazy looking here, I don't think. Got some birch twigs stripped. Got somebody with a guitar. Somebody eating some food. That looks to be the pork and beans, maybe. And we've got someone with a rifle, and it also looks like they may have a pair of binoculars on. Yeah, it looks like they've got a pair of binoculars. So potentially more tools like that. That would be good to see. Right, and here we go. Here's the other one with the horse. So we've got a horse here, rather, carrying someone kind of on like a travois. It looks like they're injured and they're being carried back. And we've got the name of the town, the city, which seems to be like the main element of this game. I wonder if they'll go more open world with this one rather than specific regions. Not that the Long Dark is an open world, but as in one large map rather than broken up. Yeah, very much still Canada though. We've got Maple Leaf here on the right, and I don't know. It seems very Canadian. They've got a hockey stick. There might be something that specifically says it's Canada, but I didn't see anything, but it would make sense. Here we've got someone who appears to be wearing like body armor, or something like that. It almost looks a bit like a bomb suit. Interestingly enough, the thing that interests me this most here is I'm using my mouse, but you can't see my mouse. They've got a scope on their gun. They've got a scope on their rifle, which is different. Obviously, you can't get a scope on your rifle, so looks like there's more options. We did also see a rifle without scope, so potentially there'll be some sort of customization with your guns, or maybe you just find different variants, or you can just attach a scope, something like that. So someone helping someone get up here, seems like maybe there'll be a bit of teamwork stuff you need to do in the game. It'd be a bit odd if they threw that in if that wasn't the case. And you saw someone going inside here, and it looks to be that like interiors seem to be, they want to probably go for more fleshed out interiors, because there's a lot going on here. And this is quite a fancy house. This could be either a hotel or someone's nice studio apartment or something. Potentially there's going to be a lot more buildings you can go inside, but I'm going to guess they're not going to be as warm as the houses are in the Long Dark in the base game. So there's probably going to be more interiors, but it doesn't mean you're safe from the cold in them constantly. In the next one here, we've got a pack of 6 wolves going after an individual who's got a flare. They're flinging around. Got a storm lantern on them, got a bedroll. Nothing too crazy here. Appears to be next to a train that is lit up, so this is during Aurora. This seems to be steelworks by the looks of the writing on that pipe there, which is Harmon. What is it? Harmon? Where was it? There was a sign. It said it. Harmont. Harmont Steel Company. So more industrial zones, I'm guessing. Very big industrial zone being the nuclear power plant, which we see someone here in a radiation suit interacting it. So it seems like there will indeed be radiation you have to worry about in the game, and you're probably going to have to protect yourself against it if you want to interact with the areas where there is radiation. It could be something like Subnautica, where there's a radiation leak and you've got to go and fix it, and if you don't, it's just going to keep spreading out and spreading out. Who knows? It wouldn't be a crazy idea, but yeah, we'll see about that. And then we've just got the end here, where we see things getting lit up by the Aurora, and cheekily on the clock it says 2026, obviously referring to the year that they're planning to release the game. And that's really it. There's not much to that. This just shows us an Aurora. So, let me go over to the Steam page. So, the other stuff we've got here is some screenshots. So, let's go on these. So, do you know what? When I saw the screenshot, I completely missed the wolf in it to start with. Blimey. Okay, so we've got some sort of diner here. And this person's holding an axe, like physically holding an axe. So, it looks like maybe you'll be able to use an axe as a weapon now. Potentially, there'll be more weapons that you can actually use to defend yourself directly, rather than if you get into a struggle. But yeah, so it looks like this wolf can go inside the building as well, which is a bit scary. But this kind of lines up with what I was saying. With it seems like you'll have interior locations that are not like safe anymore. They're just, this counts as like almost an exterior location might be where a wolf can actually come inside, which you don't really have things like that in the first game. Besides the wolves that are already in buildings, like Fluffy, for example. Next screenshot, we've got the rifle here. Once again, it's got the scope on it. We've got someone who's got ammo in it, so it seems the rifle works in a similar way with the 10 rounds. And they're going through the city here. Not too much to go crazy about here. I'm just having a look over to see if there's anything cheekily hidden, but no. That looks like that's all there is. But yeah, so once again, and it's got a strap as well on the rifle that they can holster it with. Next one, you've got Pretty Birch Bark Forest. Looks like there's actually something on the ground there. It almost looks like a lump of coal. But yeah, you've got new dynamic looking forest, which is nice. There's something that the Long Dark at the moment kind of struggles with is the forests all kind of look the same in terms of how trees are laid out or whatever. So it looks like they're going for more, dynamic forests in terms of how they're actually spread out rather than just plopping trees everywhere. Which is one of my favourite things in video games is a game that knows what forest looks like and actually makes them great. Very few do it. The one that I think does it really well is Kingdom Come Deliverance. That does forests really well. So hopefully they do a similar job here where it actually feels like a forest rather than someone has just plopped a load of trees down. Next one here, we've got the same diner that we saw before, the honey pot. And we've got some deer outside. We've got does. So does have made it to this game rather than have to wait to be put in by the looks of things. And a couple of stags. But this seems much grander kind of landscapes. But yeah, we'll see. And we got another of these interiors. So this actually doesn't look too dissimilar to the interior we saw before. It might just be from another angle. But this looks to be more like a safe house rather than just a normal building. So if I had to guess, they're going to have more safe house type things in these games. They've just stuck a propane tank in their oven, which is always a good idea. Don't do that. But yeah, so I'm guessing looks like safe house customization. They've got a stag up on the table at the back there. Presumably, there's going to be kind of more intense like butchering that you need to do rather than just lop off some meat. If I had to guess, if they're putting that like that, but yeah, we'll see. Then we've got this one, which is during the Aurora. Lots of TVs and things thrown about. I'm guessing that's just a stylistic thing at the moment, rather than that's actually going to be in the game. But yeah, just showing off the Aurora. And the last one, we got some with a storm lantern, with a different symbol for the storm lantern in the bottom right there. Bit different. And yeah, we still got some of the classic kind of pine trees. And this person's going over to the cabin, which looks kind of like the cabin from the video. But yeah, so there are the screenshots. And onto the actual... Don't stop playing. Onto the actual what they've said about it. So if you want to read through this, then feel free to go to the Steam page to read it. But I'll leave it up as I talk through it here. First one that I kind of want to talk about is co-op. So co-op is the big thing here. So that's something the devs were quite firm about not having in the first game, despite obviously a lot of people wanting it, which is totally makes sense. The Long Dark is not made for multiplayer. The core gameplay systems just wouldn't work with multiplayer. And plus, a lot of the charm of the game is you're by yourself surviving. However, with a new game that they're building from the ground up, they've got a lot of chance to actually implement it in, obviously, at the base level, which can make the game work for co-op. The main worry, of course, is making a game that works for co-op and solo is really, really hard. I don't know that many games that pull it off where both the solo and co-op experience feel good and equal. But yeah. We'll see how Hinterland does with it. I'm sure they'll do a decent job at least one of them. But I tend to find with things like this, one of the experiences will be lacking. But we'll see. We'll see. One of the other bits that I thought was relevant in this is, I can't remember what it was now, but in one of these it talks about character customization. Where was it? Yeah, this one. So build your own survivor. Customize traits and skills, collect scars and stories, experience life as a survivor in the visual identity world. So that looks like we're going to get actual character customization rather than you're playing a set character like Astrid or Will, which is interesting. Makes sense. If you're doing a co-op experience, generally you want people to be able to change how they look rather than they just play set people. It would, it would kind of suggest to me that they are not going to do a standalone story mode with this game. I believe that how Wintermute was developed over several years for the first game, that it kind of suggests that they don't want to do that with this game. If a story mode was going to come out for this game, I would expect it to come quite a while after launch, rather than it be something they kind of build up. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't scream to me that they want to go down the story route, given they're talking about NPCs existing in the world, which makes sense. If you're going to do co-op, then having NPCs is fine. They're probably going to go for more general story stuff within the survival mode, but we don't know. But that's what it looks like to me. The next one is it talking about urban survival, and it specifically references 19th century level of technology, which is very specific wording. So obviously electricity did exist in the 19th century, so I wonder what they're actually referring to by 19th century level technology. Potentially something like steam powered machines that you'll be able to use. I don't know. If anyone has any ideas of technology that's used in the 1800s that might be relevant, feel free to let me know in the comments. But that's kind of one of the big ones I can think about that's not electricity. It's just specifically just using steam. Bearing in mind it's got to be something that's not affected by the aurora. But yeah, so that's one of them. Another interesting thing is the will to live. So they're specifically referring to like mental afflictions is what I'd call it. So it makes sense with the not too long ago introduction of misery to the first game. It makes sense that Hinterland want to go more down a direction of afflictions, making long-term survival harder. I don't think they're a fan of people living forever in their game, and probably not in this one either. So there'll be some sort of mental afflictions that make sense that you've got to combat. If they do that, obviously, hopefully they do it in a very tactful way and don't go down a bad route with it. But once again, we'll see. And new hazards. So not much to say about this besides it looks like radiation is going to be more of a thing we have to worry about. I'm not super thrilled because I tend to find radiation management in games is a bit it's a bit tedious, especially if you have to do it constantly and there's no respite from it. But I would guess it's going to work something like if you're in a specific area, you need to worry about it. Otherwise, maybe not, but we'll just have to wait and see. And the last thing is the permalife. I don't exactly know what they mean by this. So permalife, the innovative permalife system turns every death into a new adventure. Accumulate new risks and fears for your survivor as you move through the world and succumb to various hazards. Face your fears, overcome their downsides, and strengthen your survivor's story in the world. Make your mark. Classic permadeath is still an option. I don't know exactly what they mean by that. So it sounds like if you die, you're somehow going to carry on. I don't know, though. I guess this is potentially what they were dipping their toes into when they made the cheat death system, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were putting that in whilst they were experimenting with this permalife system in the second game here. I'm not a massive fan of that, but given it's co-op, if the focus is going to be on co-op, you don't want permadeath because obviously you want people to keep playing with each other. So we'll see. It wouldn't be crazy to just have it so that you made a new character and you still came back into the world and you go loot your body or whatever, but you were a new person. But from what they're saying here, that sounds more like you cannot die, like properly. It says turn every death into a new adventure, but then it says accumulate risks and fears for your survivor as you move through the world and succumb to various hazards. So that sounds like they're saying you're playing the same survivor. I don't know. It sounds a little bit odd, but it's something we'll just have to find out more. Given that permadeath is still an actual option, though, I'm going to guess that's more of an afterthought because they'll have thought there'll be some people who do really want to play it permadeath. But the game is going to be balanced around a perma-life system, whatever that means. If someone's got a better suggestion as to what it means and I'm being an idiot, then let me know. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be very different. But that's pretty much all we've got for the game so far. Coming out 2026, it will be early access. So who knows? We'll have to see. But yeah, exciting. And we'll have to wait to see what happens when it comes out. But yeah, until then, cheers. Bye-bye.